Hey everyone, Chris from the Roadmap here. We hope that you enjoyed that exclusive interview that we had with Gary Vee at VeeCon 2022. He had a lot of things to say in that short interview, right? A lot of items to take away, a lot of lessons learned. So we're going to break that down now with a quick reaction video. So joining me on today's episode in this reaction video, I have my buddy Money Mitch, who attended VeeCon with me and helped record that video. Mitch, what's going on, brother? Oh, you might be muted. We can't hear Mitch. We'll get that fixed here. I also have producer Alyssa, my co-host on the Roadmap. Alyssa, what's going on?
Hello. How are you? Hey, it's Mitch.
Now we can hear Mitch.
I fixed it.
All right, guys.
Not used to this restream life.
Gee.
So VeeCon 2022, right? And shout out, I've got my CyberKongs VeeCon shirt on today. It was an amazing time, right, Mitch? But Gary Vee was, probably one of our most exciting interviews that we recorded at that event, and a very nice exclusive for our Benzinga audience, right? We got to ask any questions we wanted of Gary, and I tried to get some good ones. I tried to get some new ones that he doesn't hear all the time. But one of the big takeaways, let's start with the overall picture, right? Gary Vee, Mitch, told me and you, I think a year ago, that 98% of NFTs will go to zero over the long term. And he echoed that in his keynote speech at VeeCon and told us in the interview, once again, 98% of NFTs will go to zero. Mitch, from the sidelines of watching the NFT space, do you think that number is accurate? And what do you think that means for people who want to invest in NFTs? Is that a scary figure?
Well, one thing that I would say is I think that appreciate Gary Vee even just mentioning that, because coming from someone that's literally trying to promote his own NFT projects, giving you the warning and red flag, like, hey, just be smart here, because it's not about just trying to make a whole bunch of money. Because if that's your goal, more than likely, that's why he's giving you the 98%. Probably not going to get there. But if your goal is here to find really good projects, there are, like he said, 2% out there maybe that are really good here. And so one of the things that I would say is maybe 98 is a little bit extreme, but I think he's being extreme on purpose there, right? He's being extreme to go ahead and give you the red flag from a person that is literally working this space, right? And so one of the things that I would say to there is just be smart and wise to what he's about, and knowing that, hey, okay, so if 98 of these projects are going to go away, there's two things I can do. I can look for really high quality like projects, or two, I can look for these good quality projects to come down at a discount and then look to join in the party if I missed out on some of the party early on.
Definitely. Alyssa, I tend to think that 98% number, like Mitch said, is a little extreme, right? I think maybe 90% of projects go to 0.01, right, over the long term, maybe not zero. And, ultimately 70 to 75% of projects are just going to kind of fade away. What do you think of that number, Alyssa? Is that accurate? Is it extreme? Where's your expectation for the next coming years?
I think the 98% is a little extreme, but I mean, Gary's probably saying that to, like, I agree with Mitch. He's saying that maybe to like push people to like do more research on the projects, because it's true. It's just like stocks, like they're not all gonna become Tesla. They're not. So that's the same deal with NFTs. You have to do your research into the project, the company. It's the same thing.
Definitely.
I think like 80%, 90%. Yeah, that's the number.
Mitch,
there's a low percentage there, right? There's a low percentage there of high quality projects. Yep. And one of the key things there is determining what is a high quality project, right?
Yeah.
And I throw that question probably out to you, Chris, because you've seen these projects more than probably any of us. So really, just like on a quick recap, what would you say is a decent project? And you don't have to give names, but more along, what does that entitle?
Yeah, so some of the big things I look for is an active community, right? Not just the founders of the project. Are the holders active? Are they active on Twitter? Are they active in the Discord? Are they constantly asking about the floor price? Or are they looking to the future of what's coming and they're excited no matter what the price of the NFT is, right? That's always a positive sign. What's the future utility of the project? You know, was it just created as art? Is there a media deal, right? Will there be a TV show or a movie coming? Will there be another collection coming? And is that collection going to provide value to holders? Or is it just a potential cash grab, right? So I usually look at those things as my main factors, right? And we saw that in full display at VeeCon. And Mitch, I got to ask Gary, you know, what kind of lessons did he take away from Series 1 to Series 2? Obviously, you know, no criticism to Series 1, but we did see a little bit of a upgrade in the artwork, right? From Series 1 to Series 2. But Gary said there weren't, you know, necessarily big lessons learned, right? It was 800,000 micro lessons learned. And I love the analogy of thinking as a head coach making adjustments at halftime. Mitch, like, compare that to NFTs, but also to personal life. I mean, why is it important to kind of make adjustments as you go in whatever you're involved in throughout your life?
We'll be as clear as possible. Whenever you're in a new industry, you got to fake it till you make it kind of thing. You know what I mean? You've heard that, and there's a reason why people say that is because the truth is that you can position yourself, you can plan things out, but there's nothing like actually rolling through that roadmap and finding the bumps and bruises along the way and just knocking those walls down. So what I think Gary is saying there, that yeah, you know, we ran into walls, but we were ready for them because we expected them to come. There's always going to be walls in new industries. And whenever you're getting into, it's kind of like a new asset, literally, we need to go ahead and make sure that we learn about those assets, how the web and flows are going to go, where the ups and the down waves are coming. And I think that's what Gary is definitely learning and talking about.
Alyssa, how about you? You know, learning lessons along the way and making adjustments at halftime. What do you take away from that analogy from Gary Vee?
It's just like learning how to trade the stock market. You can blow up a few accounts, but you're learning as you're going, and eventually you're learning. You can eventually learn and start growing your account. Same with the NFTs, same with the coaching, everything in like a business. You're learning as you grow. So that's what I take from it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I think it's a great analogy, you know, outside of NFTs. Obviously, he was talking, you know, about his personal experience in NFTs, but I just think that that's a big picture statement, right? Making adjustments at halftime, learning as you go, combining a bunch of micro lessons, you know, into one big macro lesson. We got a lot of talk about sports too, right? So Gary Vee has invested in, you know, pickleball. He's invested in esports, and then he recently invested in the Big Three Basketball League, which is a 3-on-3 league co-founded by Ice Cube. And they did a really cool, unique thing, right? They're offering ownership in teams with NFTs, right? So Gary Vee saw that and was like, sign me up. Lisa Leslie's involved in it. We're seeing other NFT projects get involved in it. Mitch, what do you think of this connection of sports ownership to NFTs? Is that the next wave we're going to see, at least, you know, outside of maybe the big four sports leagues in the US?
Yes, right. Because if you know one thing about NFTs, you probably know this. It's all community based. That's what it's about. It's about bringing together communities towards one goal or towards an ideology. And so sports, they fall perfectly into that. If anything, probably better than some of the projects that are out there now. Just because, just think about it. Like, let's say like the Cowboys, such a crazy franchise brand that, man, I'll see someone have, you know, the Cowboy Dallas star on their car, and it could be in Colorado, it could be in New York. So moments like that just shows me that if they're able to figure out a way to bring in the community and really make it a community-based thing, like where you're getting talking, you're getting content. There's so much content out there that influencers are trying to give on sports, but are not able to go to a community of just that branding, right? And so I think this is opening the door not only for new content to come into play, but also new community building aspects going into teams where you can be around the people that like your team and talk about that.
Yeah. Alyssa, what's your takeaway here? Sports ownership, right? Can we see NFTs kind of bridge that gap and allow more of the public to get involved with owning a portion of a sports team or league?
Mm-hmm. I said this on yesterday's stream, like Top Shot bringing in people. This is the same exact thing. Same exact thing.
Yeah, and I mean, coincidentally, you guys, I'm working on an article right now about the Denver Broncos sale, right? If you guys didn't see, Denver Broncos sold for a record amount, right? Like $4.65 billion. Mitch, Alyssa, just a guess that you guys don't have $4.65 billion laying around, so you won't be buying an NFL team anytime soon. And the article I'm working on is
I'm not at the stadium right now.
Is that where you're at right now, signing the paperwork?
Yeah, I'm signing the paperwork right now, man.
You know, as much as we talk stocks all the time, there are not that many publicly traded sports teams or sports leagues. That's the article I'm working on. It's a handful, but really, if you're a sports fan and you want to own a piece of a team or a league, there's not a ton of options. I really think that NFTs could help bring exposure to that space. And like I said, you know, maybe it starts with the big three. Maybe it starts with minor league baseball teams, something like that. But I just think NFTs is a good way. Mitch, one of the things Gary Vee said, something he told us a year ago when we interviewed him as well, he is going to own the New York Jets someday, right? And he has gone on record saying that he fully believes. What do you think? Do you think that's in reach and he ends up owning the Jets someday? And if so, what's your prediction? What year maybe are we talking? Oh, we might have lost Mitch again.
Uh-oh.
All right. Alyssa, how about you? Gary Vee owning the Jets. Do you think it happens someday? And if so, when?
I'm probably the worst person to ask this question to, but eventually maybe, yeah.
I mean, he seems so passionate about it, and he said that, you know, maybe VeeFriends and this launch helps him, right? This is his baby. He wants to grow VeeFriends into, you know, the next Disney, right? A huge brand, huge media deals, licensing, consumer products. So he's going to have more money down the road. I think he wants it so bad that it's going to happen. I just think we're probably like 10 years away. So maybe like 2032. But again, that's total projection. Mitch, are you back?
I'm back.
Do you think Gary Vee owns the Jets someday? And if so, what year? I just said we're probably 10 years out, 2032. What do you think?
Ooh, I'm gonna actually go on a limb here. I'm gonna say 6 years.
Ooh.
6 years. Why? Why 6 particularly? So we know that crypto loves to come in 4-year waves, right? And so in the next 3 to 4 years, I'm expecting Gary to not only get himself ready for the next wave of NFTs, but kill it out of the water with the goal in mind of buying the Jets after a year or two into that boom. So look forward towards that. I'm going to call it right now. So what is it, 2022? We'll say 2028. That will be the season. My man Gary, I'm going to call you out because I'm going to bring this back.
I'm writing that down right now. I got it in writing. So
and he's frozen again.
And he's frozen. I don't know. I feel like we should keep that up there. That's a good one. So
I'm writing
Mitch,
that down.
Mitch said 6 years. I said 10 years. I think my other question would be, you know, is he going to buy the Jets outright, right? 100% ownership. Is he going to, you know, partner with some of his friends? Is he going to partner with, you know, VeeFriends, right? Maybe they end up getting a piece of the team down the road. So I think those are conversations that we'll see kind of evolve over the years. But Alyssa, what other, you know, takeaways or items from Gary in that interview, you know, really stood out to you? Anything else to call out here?
Gangsta uncles.
Gangsta Uncles. How could I forget that? Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg, Gangsta Uncles. Alyssa, what's your takeaway from that, right? Gangsta Uncles.
I don't know. I love it. Hold on. What was he talking about? Like, were they? Oh, yeah. Like where they started and they have like years of experience
Yeah.
behind them, and like they learned so much, and now
Yeah.
they're here. Like Snoop is in NFTs, showing his experience and like create like his drive and his vision for the whole NFT community, and it's doing
Yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Snoop Dogg used to be a gangsta. Now he's
Yeah.
opening a ice cream shop, right? With
Yeah.
his Bored Ape as the brand. I mean, that's kind of a 180 there, right? Mitch, we were just talking about Gangsta Uncles, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, who went from one side to now they're in NFTs and growing that way. Well, what's your takeaway on Gangsta Uncles from Gary Vee?
Well, everybody needs an OG. And if you
Mhm.
don't have an OG in your life, go ahead and look around your neighborhood because I'm sure there's an OG around there. I know I had OGs growing up, and you need an OG. And that's what Gary Vee's saying. I got my OGs right here. And what are they giving me? They're giving me by experience what they know so that I can push forward. And one thing that Snoop knows is how to brand something. So he's killing it in that game. He's like, well, I got an ape. Let's go start designing. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. He's not in a worry about how he can start a brand. And that's one thing that you can get. Have people in your life that can give you the information that you need to get ahead. And so look for those OGs, look for those mentors to get you forward. And I think that's exactly what Gary's pointing to.
So Mitch, Gary had this huge vision when he created VeeFriends Series 1. Anyone who bought a Series 1 got a guaranteed access to 3 years of this in-person event, which ended up then being called VeeCon. So that if you own a Series 1, you get to go to VeeCon for 3 years. We went to VeeCon and so much to take away, but what do you think's your overall thought on VeeCon? Was it, about community, education, everything? What was the biggest item from VeeCon?
So the biggest takeaway for me, and I have to give it to Gary because he really killed it out the water with this. And then he talked about it with people. Like a lot of people, when they talk to NFTs, they refer to it as a scam or something like that, or it's a trick or something like that. Well, one thing I can clearly tell you, and he clearly kind of gave the picture, is that yes, there can be some scams in NFTs, but that doesn't mean that Web3 and the technology that's behind NFTs is a scam by any means. If you look into that technology, you are going to find that there are beneficial factors here that are going to affect the next industry and wave that we're all going to. Take a think. Everything is going digital. They call it digitalization, and it's continued to go, if not further and further into it, than away from it. So if anything, you want to be in front of trends, not behind them. So it's up to you to determine if you want to be in front of this trend. And maybe you didn't catch the first wave, but that doesn't mean that this is over or that this is in late innings. No, this is very, very early. And I do believe that. And that's why you see me so animate about this space, because there's one thing I've missed a little bit. I talked about VeeFriends early, but there's another thing I'm not missing: the next wave.
Mitch, I love that. You're still early. Remember when Gary named some ages and he was like, "You're 40, you're still early. You're 60, you're still early. You're 85, you're still early." And we all chanted it after him, right? Alyssa, what's your key takeaway from all this coverage of VeeCon and Gary Vee in the NFT space? Oh, you're muted. That old mute trick.
We're early. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
Gary Vee knows it. He's really patient, and he does everything. Like he takes his time, and it works well. And you can do the same thing. NFTs, we're early.
We're early, guys. And education and community, two big items. They were on full display at VeeCon. we hope that you enjoyed our VeeCon coverage. We did this interview with Gary Vee. We also have part 1 and part 2 out on our YouTube. Be sure to look those up. 8 great interviews with other projects. We've got more NFT coverage coming on Benzinga. The roadmap airs Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Be sure to tune in. That's going to do it and wrap our reaction video today. We hope that everyone enjoyed. Stay tuned. You got Benzinga Live coming up with my man, AB. I know he's going to be talking about a bull-bear debate today for ticker RICK that I'm excited to hear what AB's opinion is and where that debate ends up going. So stay tuned. That's coming your way right now, and we will catch you next time on The Roadmap.